There are certainly people in Maine who have driven and flown greater distances than Carey Kish, but there aren't many who have walked more. He has hiked thousands and thousands of miles, including the 3 epic trails in the U.S., the Appalachian, Pacific Crest, and Continental Divide trails.
Carey Kish, who lives on Mount Desert Island, finished the Continental Divide Trail last year at the age of 65. The elevation changes in places were so extreme that he did the equivalent of climbing Katahdin twice in one day. That nearly 6-month-long hike left him exhausted. So this spring, he was ready for a change, and he walked the 500-mile Camino de Santiago through France and Spain. As he put it, after the Continental Divide Trail, he was ready for something a little more civilized. Every night you stayed in a hostel or an inn. You had a bed, you had hot and cold running water, you had food and beverages.
I had wine every night. It was great. I could kick off my shoes, and yeah, it was pretty nice.
And it was a starkly different experience from what you had done on your previous big hike when you did the Continental Divide Trail, which was really rugged.
Yeah, you know, I was really looking forward to being around people. It was great to meet people from all over the world, and I really made a lot of friends, and that was so different from these long trail experiences where you just spend so much time alone.
There is more than one path or Camino making up the Camino de Santiago. Carey Kish took the best known of these routes, the Camino Francais, which runs about 500 miles from southern France to northwestern Spain.
What was a typical day like for you?
Wake up. I'd already showered the night before. That's a pilgrim thing. You do that. I would go down and have a cafe americano and a tostada, toast, butter and jam, and hit the walk through the countryside, see stuff, just kind of let your mind wander, and then get to a village or a town and check in, get your bunk, get a hot shower, maybe do some laundry, and then enjoy a little happy hour. And then a nice meal, a pilgrim meal with community style with everybody. And that was your typical day.
And you would meet people out on the trail, and then in the evening when you were under a roof, you would meet people from all over the world.
And just everybody was, that's the beautiful thing I found about the Camino. Everybody was in this mode of just being kind and generous and happy and giving and caring. It's all part of the spiritual nature of this thing, even if you're not a Catholic like I am, but everybody was there for a reason.
In 2024, Carey Kish lost his mom, whom he was very close to. She was on his mind every day on the Camino, as was his dad, who died 20 years ago. Of the many long-distance hikes he's done, this one was by far the most spiritual for him.
The walk itself, the chapels, the cathedrals, the other people, all of a sudden, the spirituality of it all just came right to the surface, and I was in it. I was able to sort out, as everybody else out there, we were able to sort out a lot of things and leave some of these things behind as we moved forward. So the Camino worked its magic.
How was the roughly 2 months that you spent out there different from what you had expected?
I guess maybe I didn't expect how deep the experience would be in the end for me.
How moved you would be by it.
How moved. I don't cry very often, but I did a fair bit of crying here and there.
One of the rituals of the Camino that brought some tears was carrying a small stone he'd picked up along the way and eventually left at a religious site.
You are said to leave things there, your burdens and whatnot, and you're thinking of these people that are on your mind. And for me, it was my mom and dad and friends that were sick and had died and friends that were suffering. You know, there were a lot of rituals like that, but you know, they all meant something, and we all participated in that, and it was very moving, very touching, very deep.
The Camino does not offer an epic excursion through a grand natural landscape. This is real life.
You're walking through where other people live. You've got fields of wheat and canola, olive groves, there's cattle, there's horses, there's working farms. And then you've got the villages. You know, you'll enter a city and you'll be going through an industrial area and you go, oh, that's not very pretty. But in the end, you add up all of those pieces, and it's just all part of the puzzle of the Camino. And you learn to appreciate every part of it.
His pilgrimage came to an end at Finisterre, which means end of the world, with a walk to the ocean's edge and a look to the west out over the Atlantic.
So I was happy, I was sad. It was just the perfect way to really end the journey that had meant so much. And I had the photos of my mom and dad with me. It just kind of put it all together at the end. It was a beautiful ending.
There's a saying on this pilgrimage: the Camino won't give you what you want, but it'll give you what you need. One of the lasting lessons Carey Kish learned during his 45 days of walking was not to fret about the past or the future, but to live in and appreciate the present.
I didn't care what the weather was. I knew I would get a coffee at the next cafe. I knew that there would be a meal waiting for me. I just let things come to me, and I enjoyed where I was at the moment, and that is just the greatest gift.
Carey Kish is already off on a new adventure. He and his wife Fran are now walking the Fisherman's Trail in western Portugal, 140-mile long route considered one of the great coastal hikes in Europe.